Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Alden K. Today, for episode 24, we're actually going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to start off with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they have found their replacement for Christian Walker. We'll talk about them trading for first baseman Josh Naylor. We'll also talk about Joc Pederson signing with the Texas Rangers, and the Diamondbacks are now in need for a designated hitter. And of course, we'll talk about the Suns. They are 15 and 14 at this point in the season so far. We'll talk a little bit more about the Jimmy Butler rumors as they continue for the Phoenix Suns, and Houston Nurkic being added to the trade block. So now the Phoenix Suns are looking for another center. And then we'll move it on over to the Cardinals. The Cardinals were eliminated from playoff contention last week against the Carolina Panthers. We'll talk about that. And of course, we'll talk about the Cardinals and Rams game, as that will be tomorrow night for a Saturday primetime game. And then lastly, we will talk about Arizona State and their matchup against the Texas Longhorns on New Year's. We'll talk a little bit about that game as well. And we will close it out with ASU football. Once again, guys, you're listening to the AZ Sports Zone on the iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. You guys are just now tuning in. Welcome to episode 24 of the AZ Sports Zone. Man, I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas, by the way. It is, time of the holidays. So, lots been going on regarding that and the sports world as well. Pretty good Christmas. I hope you guys had a good one. So we'll talk a little bit. We'll talk a lot about Arizona sports, but before we do that, all right, so guys, IE Sports Radio has been around for 10 years. Make sure to follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, where we are growing on YouTube as well. Make sure to check out our website, iesportsradio.com, and make sure to give a look at our custom pages, as y'all can see mine on the ticker. And if you guys miss any of our shows, you guys can pretty much find them anywhere on Spreaker, Spotify, you guys name it. We got it covered. And then make sure to follow my the Twitter account that I run on the IE Sports Radio, AZ Sports Zone IE. If you guys are looking for Arizona sports news or just my opinion, I guess, on what goes down in Arizona sports, I pretty much give my thoughts on that account. And I just retweet a bunch of Arizona sports news. So whatever goes on in the Arizona world, I pretty much retweet it, give you all an update. You guys know what I mean? So make sure to follow that account. And of course, once again, we're going to go into a quick sponsor break. We're going to hear a word from Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, and our new sponsor, IE Sports Radio, has partnered with Vital Apparel. We'll hear a word from them. And when we get back, we will start off with the Arizona Diamondbacks acquiring Josh Naylor from the Cleveland Guardians, and then we'll talk about Joc Pederson going to the Texas Rangers. So once again, guys, you're listening to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, big shout out to Planet Jerky and, of course, our brand new sponsor, Vital Apparel. Man, keep on growing, man. It's also because of you guys who tune into our shows. No matter what show you guys tune into, you guys help us out just by giving us big support. So big shout out to IE Sports Radio. I'm so proud to be part of it. And once again, guys, I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. And I hope you guys have a new year, as that is coming up too, man. 2025. I feel like I'm getting old now, but anyway, it is what it is. All right, so let me get to the all right, let's see here. All right, let me get to the chat real quick before we get into the Diamondbacks. What's up, Taj? How you doing, man? I saw the Lakers and Warriors game. That was a big game, so good job for the Lakers. Well, not for me, but for you, I guess. What's up, Taryn? Hey, guys, Taryn will be on my show later. We'll talk about the Rams and Cardinals, so stay tuned for that. What's up, YTC? How you doing? What's up, Adam? How you doing? The Cardinals are eliminated and the Suns are terrible. How will I survive the winter? Hey, I've survived the winter for, man, 20 plus years, man. All my teams never get it done. So, I'm used to it. If you're an Arizona sports fan, you got to have good mental toughness. So, and also, I don't know how you're feeling about that Bears game, man, but man, that was bad. That was bad. Merry Christmas, Larry. Yep. Merry Christmas, man. All right, so let's get into our first segment, which is the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, obviously, last episode I talked about Christian Walker going to the Astros, which really sucked. Um, it it was just bad that we never even tried to re-sign him. But literally, not even a day after he went to the Astros, we found our replacement. They acquired Josh Naylor from the Cleveland Guardians in exchange for pitcher Slade Cecconi. So not really a big loss there. Slade Cecconi had an ERA over 6, so he had a rough year last season. So it's almost like we got Josh Naylor for free, and I'm surprised that that was all it took to get him too. So Josh Naylor is coming off an All-Star season with the Guardians when they went to the ALCS. 31 home runs, 108 RBIs. So I kind of feel like this is similar to the Geno Suarez trade a little bit when we needed a third baseman last season. And Josh Naylor actually had 5 more home runs and 20 more RBIs than Christian Walker did last season. The only category Christian Walker outplayed Naylor in was batting average. Christian Walker had a batting average of 250, and Josh Naylor had a batting average of 243 last year. So a little bit of a I guess just he kind of outplayed him a little bit. So obviously Josh Naylor is not the defender that Christian Walker is. He's a 2-time Gold Glover with Diamondbacks off of back-to-back seasons. So obviously the defense is a big question. Did we downgrade? Did we upgrade on defense? We're going to find that out as we get closer to opening day. But I do like this trade. We did need a first baseman. I kind of knew that we weren't going to go after Pete Alonso or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just because, the ownership that we have, they're not known for paying that kind of money to players like that. And another thing about Pete Alonso, I know a lot of back fans wanted him, but you guys know what we went through with Jordan Montgomery, right? And, Jordan Montgomery and Pete Alonso had the same agent, and he is not a good agent. So I'm kind of glad we dodged the bullet there with Pete Alonso and Vladimir Guerrero. Him coming to Arizona just doesn't seem realistic. I don't think the Diamondbacks would be willing to pay a big amount of money for him. So I do like this trade though. He's I understand the batting average he had last year is a bit questionable, but like I said, it's kind of similar to the Geno Suarez trade, right? Obviously last season in June, July, we were all questioning Geno Suarez. A lot of people were like, "Yeah, let's get rid of him. This was a terrible trade. He's striking out every single time." But then after the All Star break, that is when Geno Suarez went on a rampage. It felt like he was the best hitter on our team. Unfortunately, we still missed the playoffs. But with the injuries we dealt with and with the pitching that we had last season, we were limited a little bit. Uh, when all that adds up, goes to show you how important pitching is in the game of baseball. But two things about this trade that are a little bit questionable. I had already said the first one; it's his batting average. Um, a lot of people said he struck out a lot last season, so that'll be a big category going into next year with Josh Naylor. Another one is his contract. So a big reason on why Cleveland traded him, or at least that's what I'm hearing. A big reason on why Cleveland got rid of him was because they didn't want to pay him because he was coming off of an All-Star season and he is on a contract year. So Josh Naylor is on a contract year on the Diamondbacks. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's 27 years old, so he's another another thing. He's a lot younger than Christian Walker too. So obviously that's the big question going into next season, right? If he has that good of a season, if he goes back to the All-Star, if he's, I don't know, a Gold Glover or, all first team or whatever hypothetically, will the Diamondbacks give him an extension or will he make more money elsewhere? So that's the big question going into next season. So that is something that I look forward to seeing. Josh Naylor coming to the Diamondbacks. I honestly, with the front office that we have, I really thought that we were going to stick with Pavin Smith going into this upcoming season. But I'm glad that we were able to the first baseman coming off of a very good year. We'll see if he can repeat that with the Diamondbacks, and if it wasn't just a 1 year wonder for him in Cleveland. We'll see how it goes. But overall, I do like this trade big time. But when you like trades or moves or anything like that, they also come with concerns. And the whole Josh Naylor thing is he going to re-sign with the Diamondbacks if he has a good season? So that's one thing that I am worried about regarding this trade. Obviously we don't want him to be in here for a cup of coffee if he's going to have a good season next year. We want him to stay here longer. If he continues to get better, like I said, coming off an All-Star season, his first All-Star appearance, he hit 30 homers last year, over 100 RBIs. He was a big contributor to why Cleveland got to where they were last season. So hopefully he can bring that into Arizona and keep it going with the Diamondbacks as we look to get back to the World Series and make another run for it. So that's what it's all about. Alrighty, so after the whole Josh Naylor trade went down, not too much later, some other news came out that Jock Peterson is signing a 2-year deal for $37 million with the Texas Rangers. So this does suck. Jock Peterson had he was solely a DH with us last year. So this move does suck in a way. We are in need for a designated hitter now. So you would probably assume, going into this season, who's going to be our DH, right? You got Pavin Smith off the bench. Jordan Lawler from AAA is coming back from his injury. We'll see if they can promote him again. Will they re-sign Josh Bell and maybe play him at DH occasionally? There's a lot of options out there regarding the farm system and regarding guys that were on our team last season. So some people, according to Arizona Sports Insider John Gambo, he does not think that we are going to re-sign Josh Bell. Normally, 9 times out of 10, he's right. So assume we don't get Josh Bell back, right? And by the way, Jock Peterson to the Rangers, I knew that Mike Hazen was not going to give him $37 million to play solely designated hitter, and he didn't play. He only played in 70 games last year. So for a 2-year deal for $37 million, we all knew the Diamondbacks were not going to give Jock Peterson that, right? So that comes in with a question. Who's going to be our DH? Obviously, we do have a pretty deep roster, so maybe you can put Ketel Marte at DH occasionally, or Gino Suarez, even though he's pretty much the only third baseman uh, who really played third base last year. That's the only position we don't really have a lot of depth on is the third baseman, which is why Gino Suarez only missed like 5 games last year. Um, sometimes we would see other guys like Perdomo switch to third base, or things like that. So look at our outfield, right? You got Corbin Carroll, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., you have Jake McCarthy, and you have Alec Thomas. So I know Alec Thomas has been up in the trade rumors a lot lately, and honestly, I thought we were gonna, while the Josh Naylor rumors were getting up there, I thought Alec Thomas or Jake McCarthy were going to be one of the two players that we gave up to get Josh Naylor, but evidently it just led to a pitcher who did not have a good season with us last year. So maybe you could throw one of them at the DH. I know a lot of guys in our outfield, they're not really designated hitter worthy. They don't really have a whole lot of power. Jake McCarthy is coming off of a batting average season of 320 though, so maybe you can get a little bit more power out of him, or just a little bit more um, consistency of putting the ball in play and getting guys on base, and he is also a speedy outfielder as well. So I believe top 3 in stolen bases on our team last season, obviously behind Corbin Carroll. So there are a lot of options we can still throw at DH. We don't necessarily have to sign somebody, uh, although like I said, guys that are in free agency, Pete Alonso's not going to be willing to play designated hitter. And even if we do, Diamondbacks won't pay him. And, so I would stay. If I'm the Diamondbacks, I think they stay, or if what I think is true, I think they'll stay in the organization and switch in between players for designated hitter, kind of similar to what they did last year when it wasn't Jock Peterson. We occasionally had Marte playing DH, and we had Kevin Newman playing second base, but he's not on the team anymore. So I think that the Diamondbacks are going to sign depth just so they have those players that can take over when we switch guys onto the DH. Another question that we have is pitching. We were bottom 5 in pitching last season. So get this. We were number 1 in offense. We scored the most runs out of any team in baseball last year. We were number 2 in defense. We had the less errors out of everybody last season. So, and we still missed the playoffs. A lot of that was because we were bottom 5 in pitching. It goes to show you how important pitching is. I keep on saying this. If the Diamondbacks are going to get back to the postseason and get back to the World Series, they need to focus on pitching right now. They have been in rumors with Japanese pitcher Roki Sasaki. I don't think they're going to get him. I mean, it all depends on what he wants, right? The Mets are obviously going after him. The Dodgers are probably going after him, and honestly, quite frankly, they might get him. That's just how it is. Heck, even the White Sox are trying to get him right now. I've heard a little bit about Roki Sasaki being on the Diamondbacks' radar, but again, it's similar to Christian Walker. They haven't really tried to go after players that could be useful to this team. So a lot of moves, and Mike Hazen did come out and say that they are not done making moves yet. They're not done making moves yet. That is Mike Hazen's word. So that's the question. We're going to make another trade, maybe for a pitcher. We're going to actually pull the trigger on trying to sign Sasaki. We'll see what happens. So, but it is very interesting on what the Diamondbacks are going to do as we are 90 days away from opening day. So I think that this team, after the Naylor trade, they're off to a good start. They just got to get more pitching, and we also got to worry about extending Zach Gallen too next season. So if you cannot extend Zach Gallen, you also have to focus on the future of the pitching. Merrill Kelly's getting up there in age. Ryan Nelson, if he has another good season, I know he's not under contract much longer. He could get, a big payday somewhere else. So you got to look at the future of pitching here. In our farm system, you got Yumin Lin, you have Christian Mena, you have Yilbert Diaz, who all of them except Yumin Lin made appearances last year. So you have a good farm system, but it wouldn't hurt to go out there and get a proven pitcher that is coming off good years, multiple All-Stars. There's going to be guys like that in free agency that the Diamondbacks can go after. So we'll see what happens with the Diamondbacks. But overall, this is, probably the only Arizona team I'm excited for. So we'll see what happens with the Diamondbacks. Let me get to the chat real quick. What's up, Ralph? How you doing, man? Yep, Happy New Year. Yep, you know the drill. Having a great show. Adam says, will the Diamondbacks pay Naylor, though? I personally think if he has a good season, they will not pay him. If he has a good year, there's going to be teams out there that will probably offer him better value. So I think if he has another good season, kind of similar to what he had last year with Cleveland, I don't really see them paying him. Will he take a team-friendly deal maybe if we make a run, or if he wants to win? That's the big question. So that's the Diamondbacks. They don't like really paying guys like that, or at least big contracts like that. That's just how it is when you're a small market team. So we'll see how it is. The Cubs have a DH to trade. Suzuki could even play some right field for them if you like. And that's another thing too. Corbin Carroll played a lot of games last year, and which is why he dealt with fatigue. He dealt with injuries a little bit last season. The Diamondbacks never gave Corbin Carroll a day off last year, or more so the last 2 years. So if that is a DH that you can go after, then maybe give Corbin Carroll a few off days. And remember, Corbin Carroll, he has dealt with injuries these last 2 years, and that is the star of our franchise. I know he's coming off of a sophomore slump, but when you have guys like that, and he's under contract for the next 7 years, so we were able to lock him up for long term while he was still young and in AAA, for only $160 million too. So that was a friendly offer in today's baseball. So yeah, if you want to make a trade for that, go right ahead. Or like I said, you can stay within the organization, switch guys for DH, and see what happens there. What's up, Chad? How you doing? All right, so talked about the Diamondbacks for a while. A lot of good regarding the Diamondbacks so far after what felt like we were gonna not make any moves in the offseason, and it's just yikes. So all right, so with that being said, we're gonna move on to the Phoenix Suns. So the Phoenix Suns continue to be a little bit bumpy, a little bit. Um, obviously not the best start we were looking for. We started the season off 8-1, and now the record says we are 15-14, so a little bit above 500. We know we've dealt with injuries this season. Devin Booker is still out with his groin injury, but it is said that Devin Booker will be back tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors. We travel to Chase Center to take on the Warriors tomorrow. So we're on a back-to-back. We play today against the Dallas Mavericks, and then we go to San Francisco to take on the Warriors. So we're here in Phoenix for today. We're taking on the Mavericks. Luka Doncic is not playing, and Devin Booker is not playing. So we got Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. They still got Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson. I mean, it's pretty much even Steven. But let's talk about the Suns' recent games. So they're coming off of a Christmas win against the Denver Nuggets, 110-100. And Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal are both coming off 27-point games. So Bradley Beal has stepped up a little bit since he came back, not too much, but a little bit, as the number 2 option. They also lost to the Nuggets prior to the Christmas game, and they got blown out by 27 points when they were at Denver. They lost to the Pistons by 8 points, which was rough. We didn't have Bradley Beal or Devin Booker for that game, so Kevin Durant was pretty much all by himself for that game. We also have them losing to the Pacers. So the Suns they were on a losing skid before Christmas. So, the matter of injuries, the problem with the Phoenix Suns offense is they continue to turn the ball over. They just keep turning, like, if you guys saw that Pistons game, over 15 turnovers led to 29 points for the Detroit Pistons. 29 fast break points off a turnover for the Detroit Pistons in that game, which led to that loss. So the turnovers remain an issue, and it's really unfortunate too, because I remember when we first signed Tyus Jones, we all thought, okay, we have our point guard, we have the guy who is going to make the plays, dish the ball out to open teammates. The turnovers are going to go down a little bit because Devin Booker and Bradley Beal are not point guards, which was a problem we had last season as well. So with that being said, now that we have Tyus Jones, we have our point guard, the turnovers will go down. But so far in these first 29 games, the turnovers, it feels like they've stayed the same. So Coach Budenholzer really needs to just switch up the game plan. You can't, the turnovers, the pick and roll, it does work occasionally. It's like the defenses know what they're doing, though. So the Suns' turnover issues, something to look at. Obviously, there's a bunch of rumors regarding trades, regarding, situations like that, which I want to get to right here, right now. So the Jimmy Butler rumors do continue for the Phoenix Suns. The latest report that came out was by Pat Riley himself, and he said that they are not trading Jimmy Butler. Okay, you're not trading Jimmy Butler. So this means that either Pat Riley is just trying to die the narrative down, or they're actually not trading Jimmy Butler. It could be one of one. I know Jimmy Butler would rather be traded out of Miami, and the two teams that remain interested in him are the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. So they are not interested in Bradley Beal. Just as I thought, nobody wants Bradley Beal's contract. Nobody wants him to miss several games a year and still get paid $50 million a year. Nobody wants that issue. The issue that we're dealing with right now. So I said if this team is going to get Jimmy Butler, and also remember, Bradley Beal has a no trade clause too. So if Bradley Beal doesn't want to leave Phoenix, if he doesn't want to go to Miami, he could easily just say, screw you guys, I'm not going to go there. I'm rejecting this trade. So Bradley Beal has a big say in if he gets traded or if he wants to get traded, whatever's best for him. So I think this is similar to the Kevin Durant drama before we got him. Obviously, Brooklyn came out and said that they're not trading Kevin Durant. They're asking for Devin Booker in return if we want to get Kevin Durant, this and that. And then eventually it just led to KD going to Phoenix, basically giving up all of our picks and Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson, which to this day still sucks. So I think that this is similar to the whole Kevin Durant trade rumors that were coming out. So it was reported a while back that the Suns are waiting until January to determine if they want to get Jimmy Butler. So before the trade deadline, obviously. So basically, I mean, look at the Suns right now, right? They're 15 and 14, dealing with injuries. Jimmy Butler, one player is not going to change this team. Jimmy Butler is not going to change this team. He might be an upgrade over Bradley Beal, but this team has far more issues than just trying to get Jimmy Butler. And that brings me to my next topic. Jusuf Nurkic is on the trade block, rightfully so. He is the reason why this offense is not going smoothly. So I found something interesting. The Phoenix Suns offense, when Jusuf Nurkic is on the court, is ranked 21st. So bottom 10. When Nurkic is on the court, the Phoenix Suns offense is bottom 10. When Nurkic is not on the court, when he's on the bench and we got Mason Plumlee on the court, Mason Plumlee of all people, and Oso Iguodala, our second-round rookie, when they are on the court and Nurkic is off of the court and sitting on the bench, the Suns' offense is ranked top 10. Let that sink in. We traded DeAndre Ayton for this guy. And DeAndre Ayton was worthless anyway, but we traded DeAndre Ayton for this guy. And our offense is worse when he is on the court. At least with DeAndre Ayton, he was a decent shooter. He was able to post up in the paint. He was able to, shoot the mid-range occasionally. He even made a few threes here and there. He was becoming a stretch big. So, but then obviously him not wanting to be in Phoenix, plus the combination of him not getting along with certain teammates is why we traded him for Jusuf Nurkic. So, but our offense is literally the same, if not worse, with Jusuf Nurkic. So he is on the trade block now. The Suns are trying to get rid of him. There were two names that Dwayne Rakin tweeted that the Suns are interested in. One of them you can't really trade for, but Jonas Valanciunas from the Wizards and Nikola Vucevic from the Chicago Bulls. So I haven't gone completely into depth with this news, but there were a bunch of Phoenix Suns insiders that said with the rules of the NBA and with the situations of Nurkic's contract and Vucevic his contract with the Bulls, it is impossible for the Suns to make a trade with the Bulls to get Nikola Vucevic. So that has been confirmed. The Suns cannot trade for Nikola Vucevic because of the financial situation, or at least that's what came out. So Valanciunas he's in a 3-year deal with the Wizards. I guess that situation didn't go out that well. Basically, the Suns are just trying to get a new center, and they're trying to get rid of Nurkic, right? So who are you going to get out there, right? I cannot count up all of the amount of times that the Suns have tried to trade for Miles Turner from the Pacers. The Pacers are not having a good year either. So maybe, just maybe, make another pitch for Miles Turner. I know we should have got him when we were trying to get rid of DeAndre Ayton. So there's a lot of dysfunction that this team currently has, right? I always talk about team chemistry, right? The team chemistry has to get going. And if you live in Arizona, Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo once said, connected team is a dangerous team. This team is not connected. The chemistry is not going well with this team, which is why we are barely above 500. We have the talent to be a really good team. We have what it takes to get back to the finals and win it this time. You know, this team has what it takes. It's just the chemistry is not going smooth, which leads to us being top 5 in turnovers. So let's get to the chat. So Adam says the joys of a no trade clause. Yeah, I don't know why Washington. Why? Just why did you have to do that? Be prepared to send all of your second round picks to make a deal with the Wizards. Yeah, they've already done that, trying to get Bradley Beal. We have no first round picks. We don't have a first round pick until 2031. We gave all of those first round picks up for Kevin Durant, who is 36 years old. He's still playing good, but at the same time, Father Time's undefeated, right? So that's just how it is. The Bulls are in NBA purgatory. I would love to see them send Vucevic your way. Yeah. If you trade Nurkic for Nikola Vucevic, it's basically mid for mid. You're not going to improve. You're not going to get worse. Plus, I'm sure the Bulls would love Nurkic, right? At least I think they're rebuilding, or at least I think they should be rebuilding. So, but then again, looking at the Bulls' history, Adam, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember reading something last year that the Bulls have not made a trade since the 2021 trade deadline, or at least that's what I saw last year. So I don't know if that's changed in this past year or so. But do you really want to try trading with the Chicago Bulls? Is it really worth it? You can't get Nikola Vucevic. And I need to look that up more because I found that interesting. Apparently, the Suns cannot do a Nurkic and Vucevic swap, apparently. I don't know if that's financial stabilities or if that's just, how it is or whatever. But, yeah, this Phoenix Suns team, we still have over 50 games left. So this team just needs a prayer at this point. But I will say this. I know a lot of Suns fans are currently bashing our owner right now. Number one, Matt Ishbia has not owned this team for even 3 years yet. He just bought this team, so let's give him a little bit of a chance. Number two, Matt Ishbia does what no other Arizona sports owner does. He actually spends money. He actually tries to improve the team. So that's why I'm not bashing Matt Ishbia yet, even though I feel like he is kind of collecting talent, which doesn't really help teams nowadays. Building super teams in the NBA doesn't really help as much as it used to when, like KD went to the Warriors, this and that. So I give Matt Ishbia credit simply by the fact that he is trying to improve this team, which is something that you cannot say about Michael Bidwell, Ken Kendrick, or the Coyotes when they were in Arizona. So that's how it is. So, man, the Phoenix Suns, they need to do something, though, because with this current team, they're not going to win. They might be first round exits again, quite frankly, to be honest. So that is how it is. Man, I've been on these two teams for a while now. So with that being said, guys, we are going to go into a quick break. we're going to hear a word from our other sponsors, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, and of course, a word from the IE Sports Radio. So stay tuned for that. When we get back, we will talk about the Arizona Cardinals and Los Angeles Rams, and I do have a surprise for you guys when I come back. So stay tuned for that. Once again, you're listening to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, I'm your host, Alden K. So we just covered the Diamondbacks, getting Josh Naylor, Jock Peterson departing the Diamondbacks, and we just covered the Phoenix Suns. Are they going to make trades? We will find out at some point as we get closer to the trade deadline. So with that being said, all right, so before we talk about the Cardinals and Rams game, let's talk about Cardinals being eliminated from playoff contention. So another year bites the dust. The Cardinals remain who they are. Cardinals remain the longest Super Bowl drought, longest championship drought since the 1940s. You know, it is what it is. We didn't expect this to make the playoffs, right? This team wasn't supposed to make the playoffs. This team was in contention to win the division at some point. So I get it. We had a chance. We had a chance to get back to the postseason. We had a lot of chances to. Okay, Taryn's like messing up a little bit. Okay, but overall, guys, this season, and it may sound crazy for some people, I consider this season a success. For the situation that we're in right now, I consider it a success. I mean, come on, we won 4 games last season. This team didn't even sign any big names in free agency. Monty Ossenfort, in his second year, is building this team through the draft. I know our rookies haven't showed up a lot this season, Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr., he's been quiet this year. Max Melton, he's been there at times, hasn't really showed up that much. So I get it. Our draft picks are not living up to the name right now. But we have the third most cap space in the NFL this offseason. And I go back to my point: is Bidwell going to spend that money? We'll find out. But we're 7-8 at this point. It took us until week 15 to get eliminated from playoff contention. Normally by now we would be done already. So for a rebuilding team, Jonathan Gannon's in his second year. Kyler Murray is still, came off that ACL tear. I know I've said previously on my channel I don't think I want to deal with Kyler Murray anymore. It's been 6 years. He's only gotten us to the playoffs one time. But then again, he has no offensive line. This coaching staff is still getting used to being where they are. Get rid of Drew Petzing. Fire Drew Petzing. He sucks as a coordinator. Get rid of him. That's what I want. But overall, it's, we're trending in the right direction, right? This year was not supposed to be our year of getting to the playoffs. And I know it sucks we lost to the Panthers. We lose to the Panthers every single time we play them. It really sucks. But, it is what it is. We'll be back next season, right? So we got 2 games left. They're both against division opponents. Let's see how we close out this season, and let's build our team from there. I know our draft pick is probably not going to be that good. We're probably going to be like top 15 or something. We'll probably be like 15 or something like that. But, hey, this team is getting better. They're in the right direction. It takes time. And if you're an Arizona sports fan, you have no choice but to have patience. That's just how it is. So, with that being said, these last 2 weeks will be the last 2 weeks we see the Cardinals this year, and then we head to the offseason, try to get better, and we'll be back next year. So we'll see what happens. But let's talk about this week, tomorrow, Saturday primetime. I don't know why they gave us another primetime game. I really don't know why. But Cardinals and Rams. So the last time we faced LA, we kicked their asses 41-10. That game was beautiful, by the way. So I don't know if his connection is going off right now, but let's see what happens. So you guys know him. If you guys follow the IE Sports Radio that much, he's the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Like I said, I don't know if his internet is messed up right now or whatever. Let's see here. But everyone, even if he isn't responsive right now, please welcome Taryn Rodriguez. I know I can't tell if his connection is not going well right now. Okay, we'll see what happens. Crazy Juice says, I hope you give the Lambs another L. Honestly, I wouldn't have a problem if we lost out, just because let's see how high of a draft pick we can get at this point. But, the Cardinals and Rams, Sean McVay normally always beats us. I know week two was kind of, just at that point where Marvin Harrison went off, this and that. It was just how it was. So, oh, is he here? Okay, while Taryn is loading, hopefully it works by it at some point. So Adam says, what goes through your mind when you hear that Cliff Kingsbury is getting head coach consideration? I mean, if you're a Cardinals fan, you dealt with Cliff Kingsbury for 4 years and it was hell. Aside from 2021, it was terrible. So I actually heard that he was in consideration for the Chicago Bears head coach consideration. So I know, Adam, for the Bears, there's Ben Johnson and then there's Cliff Kingsbury. Pete Carroll was a rumor too at one point. So I guess if you're a Bears fan, you have quite a lot of interesting topics to look forward to regarding the head coach scenario for Chicago. But as far as Cliff Kingsbury getting head coach considerations, I'm not surprised because, Washington has looked really good offensively this season. I think he's a good coordinator, but as a head coach, that's the issue he had here in Arizona. He wasn't really good at time management, he wasn't good at making adjustments on the fly, which is why every time in the second half of the season, the Cardinals tended to not finish off the season very well. So when Cliff Kingsbury is considered a head coach, I mean, hey, congrats to him, I guess. But whatever team gets him, just know that time management is going to be a big factor for Cliff Kingsbury. All right. So Terrence says he's trying to get in. Yeah, you'll try restarting his phone. Okay. Hey, listen, I've been on for 46 minutes already. I'll go over if I have to. Okay. I'll go over if I have to. But yeah, like I said for Cliff Kingsbury, I mean, the screen plays on third and long. You're probably going to see that a lot if he becomes a head coach again. That was another annoying issue that we had when he was in Arizona. Uh, but I go back to time management, right? Time management is key if you have Cliff Kingsbury as your head coach. And that is something that he was not good at when he was the Cardinals head coach. So, um, regarding Cliff Kingsbury, we'll see what happens. Okay, so until Taryn gets in, I guess I'll talk about this game a little bit. So, the Cardinals travel to SoFi Stadium for this game against the Rams. So, like I said, we beat them last time we played them, which was back in week 2. So the Rams are currently on a 4-game win streak. They're coming off a hot streak, and we're coming off of a playoff elimination situation. So I guess this team doesn't have a lot more to play for anymore. But if there's one thing that they could play for, it is to upset upset a division rival and send them packing. So hey, he's here. Let's go. Finally.
Yep.
All right, everyone, welcome Taryn Rodriguez. How you doing, man?
Doing good, Alden.
Great. Perfect.
Told you I'm not one to give up.
Yeah, he's not one to give up. Yeah, all right, here we go. So let's talk about. So I want to hear your thoughts on last game. The Rams beat the Jets 19-9. So that was a low scoring game. I honestly thought the Jets had what it took a little bit to pull off the upset because it was they were leading for a while at some point, but Rams eventually pulled it off and they now lead the division by tiebreakers. So how did they do in that game?
It seemed like one of those old school Big Ten football games where it was this old school physical defense had to come up big and just teams keeping the ball away from one another in terms of like possession. So for me, I thought the Rams did decently in the first half. They weren't like down a whole lot. I mean, second half they really came on. They needed to get the stops against Aaron Rodgers, and then offensively they just needed to get at least some sort of a touchdown because they weren't going to win on field goals alone. But thankfully for the Rams, they were able to win. And it's a big win because it's a road game. And Aaron Rodgers has given the Rams a whole lot of HE double hockey sticks in the past. So I think this was a nice win. And the Rams also did get a little bit of an early Christmas present as they wound up seeing the Vikings beat the Seahawks, which unfortunately couldn't do the same thing with the Bears last night. So, yeah, so this week is kind of fascinating just because this week the Rams take on you all, and if they win that one and then get 3.5 wins from at least 3.5 wins from like the I think Vikings and I think
I was
the
about
Niners
to read the tweet actually.
other miscellaneous teams, then they would clinch the division based off of strength of schedule. But a win here pretty much all but locks up the division.
Yeah, so I actually have the tweet right here. It's from Ian Rappaport. This division, NFC West, is the weirdest division this year by far. So it feels like it's always like that. This division's either good or they're very bad. Like there's no in between. But the Rams and Seahawks clinching scenarios are complicated. So if LA beats the Arizona Cardinals tomorrow, they could clinch the division. So they got to beat us first. That's basically what the tweet is. They have to beat us first. And if they do beat us, they can clinch the division based on the strength of victory tiebreaker. It needs 3.5 wins from the Bengals, Bills, Browns, Vikings, Commanders, and or 49ers. So the Niners may have to help you out a little bit too.
And they play Detroit, so that's
they play the Lions on Monday night, I believe, too.
Yes.
So
Bengals could possibly be a team that helps us out. Vikings as well. Maybe, most likely the Bills. So it's just a time will tell process.
Yeah, basically. All right. So let's let's talk about this upcoming game tomorrow. I don't know why they gave us another primetime game. We suck. But
You've only gotten one primetime game this season, and that
yeah,
was when y'all were exclusive on ESPN Plus with the Chargers, which we don't talk about that game.
I slept on the couch that night. Anyway, so yeah, basically. All right. So yeah, and both of our primetime games were against LA teams. So quite frankly,
Go figure.
yeah, we'll probably get more primetime games next year. We are a rebuilding team on the rise a little bit, so we'll probably get more. Um, but this Cardinals and Rams game, it is key for you guys. It would have been key for us had they actually not choked against Carolina once again, which I figure we always lose to Carolina. It's so annoying. I said last week that would be a trap game, and god damn it, I was right. So it's it sucks that we're eliminated, but I won't get a heart attack anymore knowing we have nothing to play for anymore. So the Rams are coming in this game off of a 4-game win streak. They beat the Jets. They've even shocked Buffalo in that win streak too. So the Rams are on a very hot streak right now. So before we get into the game, Adam has a question for you, Taryn. Any feelings of regret in LA seeing Jared Goff this year?
Not necessarily. I mean, Jared Goff is a good quarterback, and he's progressed. I think he just maybe needed a new, fresh start. So honestly, I don't have any feelings of regret for the Rams trading away Jared Goff. I mean, they still won a Super Bowl out of it and whatnot, and I think it worked out for both sides.
I think that's the best trade in NFL history. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
That like the Rams did that trade to win now. The Lions did that trade for the future, and both of them are working out so far. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have been the best trade of all time. I'm not even joking. I can't think of one off the top of my head that's better than that
Exactly.
one. So we talked about the Rams clinching scenarios. They got to beat us first. But I want to talk about the Rams' strengths and weaknesses. So you've seen your team all year. Obviously, week 2 when we played y'all, it was just a blur. We were still getting used to our teams for this season. But what would you say is the biggest reason on the Rams to win this game against us?
I would maybe say the offense. I think having Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua just really helps. Whereas no Puka the first time around when the two teams faced one another, and that was a disaster game. And I feel that the Rams being at full strength would have definitely helped throughout most of the season because they start off 1-4, and pretty much everyone wrote them off. And ever since they're now 9-6, so they've only lost twice. Once to an Eagles team, which that was pretty much a flush away loss. And then another to the Dolphins, where they probably could have won that game if the offense had just clicked a little better. But honestly, I think playing on Monday Night Football, the Rams forgot what day they were playing. So I think for the Rams, I think it's going to have to be the offense that needs to be led in a perfect way. I mean, they have to get their run game going, which they're doing a good job of doing so with Kyron Williams. And then, again, getting the receivers involved. Tyler Higbee just came back for the Rams after having that devastating ACL injury. And the fact that he had a touchdown in last week's game against the Jets was kind of heartwarming just because he'd done so much to try to get back, and this was his first game back, and he was able to get to the end zone. So I think getting the offense going would really help because I think if there's one thing I learned in the first meeting between Rams and Cardinals and the meeting between Chargers and Cardinals, it's that Arizona likes to have these high-scoring games. I think they're a high-scoring team, and I think that you got to keep pace with them. I don't think they're the type of team that will be in that low-scoring, gritty game like they were in that Chargers game, even though they didn't even need to put up that many points.
Yeah, our offense struggled in that game big time, and high scoring games, obviously our offense is revolved around running the ball because we have James Conner in the backfield. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not living up to expectations this year, which sucks. I do blame our offensive coordinator for that, though, for not getting him involved. How do you draft a guy 4th overall? You're not even trying to target him. That's like a lot of that is on Kyler Murray. The communication between them isn't that well, but also it's the play calling. So I do want to talk about that a little bit. So the injury report. The only player that I am seeing on the Rams injury report who is questionable is Rob Havenstein. So that's another thing too. The Rams seem to be healthy right now.
Yes.
So big time. So that's definitely something different compared to week 2 when we played the Rams. So they were dealing with injuries off the bat after that Detroit game in week 1. And they seem to be pretty healthy now. So they're only missing a tackle who is questionable. So that's big for us. Meanwhile, for us, we have 4 players who are questionable: running back Trey Benson, guard Evan Brown, defensive end Baron Browning, and actually, no, I take that back. We have 3. As of today, it was announced that James Conner will be playing against the Rams this week tomorrow. So he is playing after getting a knee injury against the Panthers. And this brings me to my point on how the Rams could beat us. They have to stop James Conner. If you stop, and when James Conner got hurt against the Panthers took it from there. So that brings me to my point. James Conner is the heartbeat of our offense. When James Conner rushes for over 100 yards, the Cardinals are 5-2 this season, and they are so they only have 1 win this year when James Conner is under 100 yards. So that is a mind-blowing stat. So if you are able to limit James Conner in this game, you are more likely to win against the Cardinals. If you put the ball in Kyler Murray's hands under pressure, it just depends on what type of Kyler Murray you're going to get. We've seen Kyler Murray deliver game-winning drives this season. We've also seen him blow the game away, and just like last week with that fourth quarter interception and the 3-and-out on overtime offense. So if you put the ball in Kyler Murray's hands, you have a better chance to win. So also with the receiving part as well, Marvin Harrison Jr. has not been anywhere to find. It feels like Greg Dortch has been our best receiver so far this year, which is crazy. And then we have Trey McBride as well, who has almost 1,000 yards this year, but 0 touchdowns. So I would also look for Trey McBride this season as well. As we get closer to the end of this season, Kyler Murray's going to want to give him a touchdown at least before we wrap this season up, especially in the red zone where we've tried to look for him a lot this season. So I would also focus on Trey McBride and James Conner as well. Try to limit them a little bit. But like I said, the Rams have a lot to play for. We don't. The only thing we really have to play for is by knocking a division opponent out of the playoffs. That's pretty much all we have to play for. The Niners have also been eliminated too. So it's between the Seahawks and the Rams now. So the Seahawks also came off of a victory against the Bears, which was probably one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. But you guys play the Seahawks in Week 18. So that could be for the division. So, yeah, so overall, how are you liking the chances on the Rams winning the division so far, and what is your score prediction for this game?
Well, I'm liking the Rams' chances quite a bit. My only fear is that this could be a trap game, and the Cardinals, they have nothing to play for, and that's the biggest and most scariest team out there. If a team has nothing to play for, and they're playing with house money here. Now, speaking of house, it obviously is going to be taking place. This game is going to be taking place at SoFi Stadium, and the Cardinals have not fared well on the road. I think they're like 2-6 on the road this season, because that was something that caught my attention. I'm like, Cardinals are not a good road team, which that could be trouble in paradise for Arizona. So that's something I hope the Rams can obviously exploit. And obviously the Cardinals are coming off of a tough loss, whereas the Rams, they're riding the highs and highs. And the Rams have got to realize that if they win this game, they could clinch the division and make it a little bit more easy on themselves in terms of like strength of schedule. But if they lose, then Week 18 is for all of the marbles, and that's a win or go home game. So, and you don't want to be put in that situation. So I think for the Rams, I like their chances of winning the division, but they really got to take care of business this week. This week is the most important game of the week.
Yeah, and the interesting fact about that 2-6 road record is that both of those wins on the road, the Cardinals actually only won by 1 point in both of those games. They did not win by more than 1 point in those games. They won by 1 point against Miami on the road when Tua came back, and they won by 1 point against the 49ers when they went to Santa Clara. So both of those road wins were 1 point games. So we were a stretch hair away from being winless on the road this year. So, and both of those games were by game-winning field goals too.
Mhm.
So both of our wins are pretty similar among how we've won. So I think the Rams will win this game, unless James Conner goes off. He can keep the offensive momentum going, and our defense stops Kyron Williams. That's another thing. I mean, they were letting Chuba Hubbard run all over them last week. So our run defense is still not there. Feels like we haven't had a good run defense since we had Darnell Dockett. Like, it's just very bad. So yeah, in order for the Rams to beat us, Kyron Williams has to get it going again, which I think he'll have no problem doing. And Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp also being back does help them a lot. Like I said, they were dealing with injuries in week 2, and we were not. So that's what led to the 41-10 victory. But this will be a different game. They're healthy, and now we're not. It's the other way around now. So I think the Rams do win this game, but because it is a division game, I could see it being a close game. I think they'll end up winning 34-26. So that's my prediction. I think that their offense will get it going. I think we'll get it going in some ways as well. So we'll see what happens. But that is it for the Cardinals and Rams. So, Taryn, you could talk about this if you want, but we're going to close out this episode with ASU and Texas. So we're going to close it out with that game. So I'm going to go into a quick break. Taryn, you're welcome to stay on here and talk about that game if you want. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Arizona State and Texas in the college football playoffs. So we're going to go into a quick break. Once again, guys, you're watching the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter, at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always willing to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Law.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So we just covered up the Rams and Cardinals, and how the Rams are gonna probably whoop our ass. So,
I
but
got the Rams winning 28-20.
28-20. Okay, so that's Terran's score prediction. Mine was 34-26. So, um, covered that. It'll be an interesting game tomorrow. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see it. I'll be working again, so it sucks. But I will be watching it at some point on a replay or whatever. So, so to close out this episode, obviously the main event for Arizona sports, as I like to call it. So ASU football. So obviously, Arizona State was ranked 4th going into the college football playoffs, and they were going to play the winner of Texas or Clemson. And just like probably everybody outside of Clemson people predicted, Texas ended up winning by a score of 38-24. So it was actually a blowout to start the game. I think it was like 31-10 at one point. I thought, okay, it's going to be Texas. They're going to blow them out, this and that. But Clemson actually made a little bit of a comeback. It was 31-24 at one point, but Texas eventually closed out the game. And now we're taking on Texas on New Year's Day, and it's an 11 a.m. game. So definitely will be watching this game. Can't wait. But before we get to this game, I actually want to ask Taryn, and I'll get my opinion as well. What did you think of the first round? Did you think it was a good adjustment for the college football format, or what?
I mean, it's still a work in progress, but all the games were pretty much they weren't as close
Yeah.
as I expected it. Like I expected Tennessee, Ohio State to be a little closer. Penn State, SMU, that one was kind of expected. Notre Dame, Indiana. Indiana just had no chance against Notre Dame in South Bend. And then Clemson, Texas was probably the best game of the bunch. And you got to give it up to Clemson. At least Clemson showed some sort of grit and resilience. I mean, yeah, Indiana only lost by 10, but they were pretty much doomed going into the fourth quarter. So I think for the first round, it still has a lot of kinks to be worked out. Maybe they just have only 8 teams, no buys for anybody and whatnot. So, yeah, but I think this first round, it still leaves left a lot to be desired. So, I definitely think it has some perks and it needs some work. It has some perks, but needs some work.
Yeah, I agree. I I even thought about that idea too. It should just be 8 teams. Just go straight to the second round. I mean, I know that first round was obviously pretty much decided for every single game. But yeah, like you said, it's the first year of the 12-team playoff format, so maybe it's kind of like the NBA play-in tournament, right? Just give it, a couple years, few years, see how it adjusts, and we'll see what it turns into. But obviously, the first year of it was kind of pointless. I mean, it just feels like we all knew what teams were going to win. I mean, but yeah, like you said, Clemson, they did put up a fight. That was probably the only game in the first round where you couldn't really guarantee a victory, right? Clemson was coming off of a hot streak to get into the playoffs. And of course, Texas, there's always the narrative of Quinn Ewers, right? He's not going
Oh,
to
yeah.
deliver. So, and that is a factor coming into this Texas and ASU game. So, the big question I have for Arizona State is, are they ready for the opportunity? This is their first year back in the college football playoffs since 2014. Well, not the in this format at least. 2014 was the last time we had a double-digit winning season. So under second-year coach Kenny Dillingham, obviously our quarterback Sam Levitt, he's a freshman, so he's getting this experience already. So it's a good experience for him as he continues to develop at ASU. So, and obviously we talk about Cam Scatabo being the MVP of this team. Jordan Tyson is out for the rest of the season, so we are without our star receiver, which really hurts. So it's always going to be next man up with the ASU receiving core, and of course the defense as well. Not just our defense, but Texas as well. They gave, well, they didn't really give Clemson, that big of a scare or anything like that. I'll give Klubnik some credit for Clemson. He actually did a better job than I thought he would. So I give him that. But this Texas defense is going to be a big issue for Arizona State. And I know for sure Texas will be game planning for Cam Scatabo. If you stop Scatabo, you pretty much stop ASU's offense, or at least if Sam Levitt, he's got to be able to really let it fly for this game. I know we're without our star receiver, but obviously they are going to be game planning for Scatabo. So Sam Levitt has got to rely on the next man up mentality for these receivers and really let it fly for this game, because this is the playoffs now. So you got to be good on all cylinders on offense and defense. So especially when you're facing a team like Texas. So Taryn, I don't know how much of the college football playoffs you have been watching, but overall, what do you see from both of these teams going into this game?
Well, I see Texas probably getting into a high scoring affair. I think if Texas gets the ball rolling and they just get out to a big enough lead and they just get everyone like involved, whether it's the run game or receiving game, I think it's going to make things really tough for Arizona State. But Arizona State, I'm gonna take the assumption that pretty much everyone outside of like ASU fans or the state of Arizona is picking Texas to win, yeah, everyone is pretty much going to pick Texas to win it. And I think Arizona State can use that as fuel and motivation to possibly, shock the world and whatnot. Everyone probably will pick Texas, but I think ASU, they don't have much to lose, and they are coming off of a bye, and they are hopefully going to try to get as healthy as possible. I know you said their top receiver is out, but again, they're playing with house money here, and I feel that if Texas fouls up or if Quinn Ewers just doesn't start off strong, then maybe Arizona State can pounce on that opportunity, because I know Texas kind of has the experience when it comes to playing in these college football playoff games, as they were in it last year. They were in the semifinals last year, but I think for Arizona State, this has kind of been a long time coming. 10 years since this team last had a double-digit win season, and now they're just looking really good this year. And it's the battle of the Big 12 champion versus the former Big 12 head honcho, possibly. So I think for this matchup, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Arizona State can do. I think Arizona State does have a shot. I think they can make it tough on Texas, but they have to. This one's probably going to be high scoring.
Yeah, I agree. But so, yeah, like I said, is Arizona State ready for the opportunity? Because this team, well, every team's young, but this team they have a lot of freshmen. Cam Scadabo's been our MVP. You obviously know Texas is going to game plan for him. So this game relies on Sam Levitt too. Because I think even though they are game planning for Scadabo, Scadabo always does this thing regardless. He finished fifth in Heisman voting. So we know he's going to do his thing. This game depends on Sam Levitt and how he controls the offense. And for Texas, obviously Quinn Ewers, if he doesn't start off that good, or like Crazy Juice said, if he doesn't play his best, ASU has a very good shot. But then again, this team is inexperienced. So they have, even though the rankings say that, they're top four, they still have nothing to lose. This team, this is their first year getting adjusted to the college football playoffs. Like if ASU gets blown out, it's like, okay, you guys know what you did wrong. You're going to come back next year. You're going to get a bunch of transfers because a lot more people are going to be interested in ASU after what they've done this year and with the way Kenny Dillingham has led this team. So you are going to get a lot better as the years go by if you keep doing what you're doing. So, but if you beat Texas, on the other hand, number one, you're most likely going to face Oregon, assuming they beat Ohio State. So, regardless of that, you got that far. So you're going to have a lot of teams that are on with you on their radar next year. So regardless of that, this team has done their part this season. Texas is the one that needs to prove something, especially Quinn Ewers too, as he, gets closer to the NFL. Arch Manning's on the rise as well. So I feel like that's always a lot of pressure on Quinn Ewers as well. So I'm still going to pick ASU, even though I'm not saying it's a guarantee we're going to win. I still got to roll with ASU, though. I think it will be high scoring. I think it'll be 41-35. So I do think it'll be a high scoring game. So what's your score prediction? Did you say it?
Yeah, I'm probably going to pick Texas. I have them winning 45 to, let's say 45 to 35. Let's make it a little bit more respectable, just because I think ASU, they're a good team, and you don't bumble your way into the conference, or not the conference. You don't win the Big 12 on accident. That is a very balanced conference, and you had Iowa State, BYU, and Colorado all finishing with the same record. And thankfully for Arizona State, they were able to be the ones to come out on top in terms of like the conference championship against Iowa State. So I think for Arizona State, they deserve a lot of credit for this season. And if they lose, then so be it. They had a fantastic season, and everyone is going to be more hyped and valued to try to go to Arizona State just because they have a culture going, and they can only go up from here. And then, as you said, they'll all probably draw Oregon or Ohio State. They'll get a Big Ten team regardless. So
Yeah.
I think for Arizona State, they've had a fantastic season. I just feel Texas, I like the matchup that Texas brings. My only fear for Texas is if they somehow look ahead or they just revert back to their pumpkin stage from the regular season. But I think for Texas, they have a fairly good shot at winning this again. But don't count out Arizona State.
Yeah, we were given the lowest chance to win the national championship, which is fair. I mean,
Oof.
nobody thought we were going to make it this far. I mean, I sure didn't, and I'm a fan. So, hey, there you go. But yeah. So this was a very long episode, but hey, we had a lot to talk about. So once again, I want to thank Taryn for coming on here. This the third time you've been on here, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, probably during the off season, we should probably get some more guests on my show, and I would like to have you along as well. So
Sure, no problem.
yeah. So we'll probably get in. I want to see if I could do like an NFC West, like round table maybe. But
That's fine.
that would be pretty nice. But once again, guys, we had a lot of people come on here today. I want to thank you guys for coming on to episode 24 of the AZ Sports Zone. I am well over the hour mark, which I've been doing a lot lately, but have a lot to talk about. So that's how it is sometimes. But once again, guys, thank you for coming on to episode 24. We will be back at it next Friday. No guarantees. Hopefully 1 o'clock again. Lately, my schedule has just been crazy. I have to go live like an hour earlier or so. But, it is what it is. That's how it is sometimes. But once again, guys, I will be live at least every Friday. So next Friday, we will be back at it, see if the Suns make any moves, see if the Diamondbacks make more moves. The Cardinals, we'll talk about how they closed out their season, or closed out their game against the Rams. And, of course, ASU and Texas. We'll see what happens. But I'm proud of ASU. Once again, Taryn, thank you for coming on here. Anything else you want to say before we close it up?
No, I just appreciate you having me on. It really does mean a lot. And everyone, happy New Year. Have a safe New Year. And hopefully I will see you next year on the show.
Perfect. Yep, definitely down for it. But once again, guys, like Taryn said, have a happy New Year. Stay safe. New Year's, stay safe. All right, 2025 is right around the corner. 2025, we will make IE Sports Radio a lot better that year than it already is. We can only go up from here. So that being said, guys, see you guys next Friday. Have a great weekend. Best of luck to your teams, except the Rams. But anyway, see you guys next Friday, and we are out of here.